Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. On today's show, we are talking solar stocks. U.S. solar stocks are up. Foreign ones are down after a policy reversal over the weekend from the U.S. Trade Representative. And we'll talk about the ramifications of the new tariff headline on solar imports, moving that sector this morning. We have a couple of ratings, and actually a number of rather noteworthy ratings today. So we'll talk about the biggest ones that caught our eye, both upgrades and downgrades. A couple of earnings this week. It's a light earnings week overall. And our guest today, Cate Long. She's a muni bonds expert and the founder of Puerto Rico Clearinghouse. She will join us at 8:35. We'll also take some questions from our chats throughout and around the show at premarket.benzinga.com. Before I go any further, I want to remind you folks that our show is sponsored by Weebull and the We Trader competition. It starts today. Join traders from around the world in a paper trading competition that's great for you and somebody else because it benefits the Shriners Hospitals for Children. So the competition that starts today, like I mentioned, consists of 4 weekly competitions with weekly prizes of nearly $11,000 worth of Amazon gift cards and a grand prize to the best overall trader with either a brand new Tesla Model 3 or $40,000 towards your student loans. So you can go to Weebull.com, download the Weebull app to learn more about that. Now, Joel, what's the word here overnight? I hear we're down.
We're down, but not out. In fact, the bad news is we're traded down 7 1/4 handles at 29.4375, but that's way off the low. You had an open low at 29.75, peaked at or troughed at 28 even, and you've battled back here. Pre-market high 46.75. Now we just got to keep your eye on the close from Friday. That was right near the high of the day. So big number on the upside. Get that file through 29.51. Below the pre-market low, things are thin there, folks. We don't have an intraday low Friday until 17.50. So numbers are setting up good this AM. Crude on the rebound here, up 62 cents at 53.43. Gold in the red by 7.40 at 15.05.5. Silver following suit, down 9 cents at 17.53.5. And Bitcoin, we've printed in the 7 handle, 7,745 is your early morning low. Just back above 8,000 at 8,035. Down $190. Well, I tried to get Triple D to go to the football game with me on Saturday along with other people, but he went to Home Depot.
I did go to Home Depot. I went to lots of places because I had the kids solo, so I was nowhere I was going to the game. And obviously with the 2-year-old and the 4-year-old, I don't think they do that well at the Michigan game, but congratulations. It was a good birthday present for you.
Yeah, they won. I'll just say winning ugly. They're going to have to play a lot better for the remainder of the season. But as a win is a win. I got to enjoy it with my daughter and her friend. And overall, great big Ruth Chris steak Saturday night. Had a little bit that on Sunday in my omelet as well. So good all-around weekend. And I played with my iPhone watch a lot, too.
Oh, the nice iPhone watch. So I had an interesting weekend too, or any interesting one of these stores here that I went into. So I got banned from a thrift store.
The cheapest person in the world got banned from
I can't really figure this out.
Yeah,
I'm shocked myself. Not even kicked out. Now I'm banned apparently. So my wife said I can't tell a story on the air, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So
how bad was
it's kind of her fault. It started with my wife's fault. So last week. And the store is Value Village. I don't know if you're Canadian, you'll know it. It's not in the States, but if you're Canadian, you know, it's like a thrift store. And they sell Halloween costumes. So they bring in the new Halloween costume. So my wife went in there And the only time I go in Value Village normally is to let my kids play with all their toy section because they're all used toys and they can kind of destroy the whole section. I don't feel bad about it. So you would think I would got banned for that, but this was not the reason. This was not on the kids. This was all on me, actually. A little bit on my wife too, though. So last week my wife goes in there. What are you asking?
What'd you do?
Yeah, so last week my wife goes in there and buys $130 worth of Halloween costumes. But as she's checking out, she clearly asked the cashier because she's still shopping for Halloween costumes, so she wanted to come and try them on the kids. And she was, going over here and she wanted to see, but she kind of liked these ones, so she said clearly she asked the cashier, "Can I return these?" And the cashier said, "Oh yeah, no problem. Just within 7 days, just bring in your receipt." So she's like, "No problem." So she buys the things, and then she goes to return, or she goes to return them the next day because she finds Halloween costume somewhere else, and they say, "Oh no, there's no returns." So anyway, so she's fairly upset about that because the cashier clearly told her. So she's like, "Okay, well, I'll take this up, with the manager comes out. He's like, you're gonna have to talk to the district manager about this." So she gives the district manager a call, and she's trying to deal with that. Anyways, they work out that or something about a store credit. So anyways, I guess she was fine with that. So she's like, "Can you just do me a favor? My wife was away this weekend. Can you go to Value Village and can you, take these costumes back and, get the store credit?" I'm like, "Okay, no problem." So, I'm solo parenting, so the kids can kind of destroy the toy section while I do that. So I let my daughter was with my mom, so I just had the boy, and he's playing with the toys or whatever. So I'm kind of dealing with this return. So I talked to the person at the services desk, and he's like, "Oh no, there's no store credits here. We don't even have gift cards. It's exchange only. So do you want to go look around the store?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to spend $130 at Value Village right here on the spot. There's absolutely no way." So I'm like, "Can you call the manager?" And the manager's like, "Oh no, it's exchange only. We don't have store credits or anything like that. So you can exchange these costumes for other things in our store." She's like, "It's fairly easy to spend $100 here." And I'm looking around, everything's priced at $1. And I'm like, there's no way I'm spending $130 here at Value Village. This is absolutely no way. So then I go and I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I go and I look in, the kids playing with like a $5 toy. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to cut it. So I'm like, you know what? I got this figured out. I walked around the store and I find a lady with a shopping cart just full of stuff. So her shopping cart's right full. I'm like, oh, she's easily got $100 there. So I talked to her. I said, "Look, I've got this, exchange only. I can only exchange today. Can I buy your shopping cart full of stuff? And then, I'll just give you like $20 off, at the end, at the end or something like that." And she was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds good." So I go to the front of the store and I'm ready to buy the ladies or exchange my $130 worth of exchange credits for her shopping cart full of stuff. And the cashier's like, "Oh no, you can't do this," because they knew I was shopping around. And then the manager comes out, he's like, "Oh no, you can't do this." I'm like, "Why not?" I'm like, "I'm just, doing the exchange. I'm just, buying the shopping cart with this lady." She's like, "Well, you can't, be talking to your customers and that." I'm like, "This isn't anything to do with you. I've already talked to this customer." I'm like, "This has nothing to do with your store. I'm buying the shopping cart worth of stuff." And she's like, "You can't be harassing our customers." And I'm like, I said to the lady, "Am I harassing you?" She said, "No." I'm like, "See, I'm not harassing her. So what's the problem?" She's like, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave." I was like, well, I got to with my kid because he's destroying your toy section right now. So I go get my kid, and she actually escorts me out of the store. So
Oh my God.
Go for that. I thought it was pretty smart. Wasn't I smart, Joel? Spencer?
That was brilliant. Well,
I thought it was like I'm getting my money back. I was like, I was going to be out $20, but I was like, that's okay. I'm going to get the majority of my money back. I thought it was smart. Anyways, she kicked me out of the store. So my wife calls, obviously the district manager, and obviously says, it's disappointed. So the district manager says, "Look, we'll give you your money back, but your husband isn't allowed in the store anymore." So I got banned from Value Village. They're going to give my wife can go in there, but I'm not allowed in the store anymore.
Wait,
wasn't I smart? Wasn't I smart about that?
Is this any Value Village or just the one?
I don't know. I go to those Value Villages just to kill time with my kids because, like I said, they like to play with all the toys, and they're all destroyed anyways.
Man.
Like Burlington Coat Factory, you can go in there, destroy the toy section, you don't feel bad about it. You go to Macy's, destroy the toy section, you got to clean all the stuff up.
That's great.
Anyways, they kicked me out. So I don't know if my picture's going to be on the wall or anything, but
man, yeah,
I thought it was smart. Wasn't that smart, Joel? I went and found the shopping cart, the lady with the shopping cart full of stuff. I was like, I'm good to go.
And giving up the edge too to that.
I did. I had to give up a little bit of edge. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I had to make it worth her while, right?
Yeah.
So, and she was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. I get $20 off my shopping cart and we'll go. Anyway, they had none of it. They escorted me out of the store.
I'm banned from PayPal.
Why are you banned from?
You're banned from the online.
Is this gonna be like the Monday morning? Where are you banned from? Store chat. Where are you guys banned from? Is there anybody? I've never been banned from anywhere. I'm a pretty good citizen. Okay, why are you banned from PayPal? I'm not surprised.
I can't remember. I don't know. Something it wasn't a.
How do you get banned from PayPal?
I don't even care. I don't answer their emails anymore. I just Venmo. I just use
PayPal owns Venmo.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Don't tell them that I'm on Venmo. But anyways, Triple D.
Oh, somebody else. Jimmy Vegas is banned from PayPal as well. PayPal bans
really?
people.
What do you guys
That's what he just said. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not banned from PayPal. I rarely use it. I do have a PayPal account, but I rarely use it.
Robin Steckel says, I didn't think that I could like Triple D more, but now I do.
Honestly, though, was I really doing anything wrong? Did I do something wrong there?
You were outsmarting the man.
I got banned because I was smarter than the manager.
It's big value.
And they're probably like, can you believe that? They're probably still talking about you at that store. They're like, oh man,
I think my picture might be on the wall. Yeah, but I would have thought it's possible I could get banned from Value Village just because my kids like to destroy the toy section. And by I mean destroy, like they like to play with all the toys. And I'm kind of I'm pretty loose about it. I mean, and I like if they want to ride the little bike in there or whatever, I let them ride. I said, ride in this little aisle area right here. Just don't hit anybody. They like to try the toys out. And sometimes we buy a toy in there. So I guess they're not going to get any more of my toys. But I mean, like I said, everything is priced. It's a thrift store. Everything's like $5 or under. How do you spend $130? It's hopeless.
You had a shot.
Only my wife could spend $130 in Value Village.
All right.
This show was brought to you by Value Village.
Yeah, we got lots of good advertising. Value Village, hello.
Shop in our store.
All right. Let's move on here to the market. So over the weekend, big headline, the U.S. Trade Representative announced the two-sided solar modules, aka the bifacial modules, have had their exemption on a 25% tariff removed. They're removed from the exempt list, so they're back on the tariff list. In other words, so U.S. solar imports for bifacial panels back on the table, happening at the end of the month. That's good for the U.S. companies for solar, SunPower. Bad for your importers, your CSIQ and your JKS and your foreign names.
So they're going in opposite directions today. So if we look at JKS, it's trading down fairly significantly here in the pre-market, down almost 5%. Canadian Solar down 3.6%, and then you got SunPower trading up 6.8%, and First Solar trading up 5% here. So going in complete opposite directions here this morning. A nice move for those stocks. I still have First Solar in the long-term portfolio. Almost tempted to sell it here into this because this is where I bought it, and it was just murdered last week, and now I get my money back all of a sudden. I know it's a long-term portfolio. I'm supposed to stop trading the long-term portfolio, but all my spiny senses tell me I'm going to get the stock cheaper. What should I do? Mr. Elconin.
Well, why would anybody want two-phase solar panels? You never know if they're going to work on you or not.
I don't know anything about the fundamentals of the solar panels. I just like the solar industry. Maybe I should just buy the team.
You guys didn't get that.
I know.
No, we didn't get that. We went right over our head.
Did you guys out of news get it? Bifacial solar panels?
Ha ha.
You don't want them because they're two-faced?
Okay.
Okay, explain it. That's good.
Right, wow. Well,
Sometimes your puns are so witty that the wit just goes over.
No, that was good, but it was Monday morning.
gosh,
It's too early. I'm tired still.
I just got to go harass someone in Value World, and then
Value World.
I'll be a favorite on the show. There's a pop and a drop. I don't know what happened to these solar stocks last week. So look at the reason for that, because this one got whacked. Trading at the highs of the pre-market session. Let's see where that comes in at. I got to open up one more window here. The high of the pre-market session just comes in on that last bracket. It's 63.13. I guess you just use that 63.13, and if you get Mo, continuing through that, then you'd be okay. If it hits that area and starts to roll over or doesn't hit that area, I'd be a little nervous.
It's 50% I'm looking at.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yep.
68, 55, carry the two. What is that? What's 50%?
I do.
Joel, you won the grade 3 math contest. Give us a 50%
Well,
on
you
that.
do 68 minus 55, which is 13. You divide by that by 2, and it's 6.5. So you had 6 to 55, 61, 62. It's
You're right there.
Yeah.
I may dump it.
Okay.
We'll see.
Let's look at JKS. That's in the red as well, following suit. This is not a good looking chart. It got whacked yesterday. Now you're testing the low of the move. So low of the move, 1469 last week, currently trading at 15.25. Maybe you'll get there. Maybe you won't. Your low on Friday came in at 1469. So keep an eye on that. The prior's day low was a little bit lower than that, but 75 cents. That's a long way to go. The one's going in the other direction. SPWR trading in the green by 72 cents. And
These things really got. Why did they get hit so hard last
what
week?
happened last week was so.
They really smacked solar around. Obviously, the only one I own is First Solar, but and obviously getting a lot of those losses back from last week makes me think I should just take it. My small loss I have left and move on. But what happened last week? Why did they get hit so hard? Where's Gordo when we need him?
Where
is Gordon Johnson still covering the solar names?
He does, yes.
Yeah, we need to hear from Gordo on this because I don't know what to do. And Gordo he's good. We know Gordo's really good with the solar stuff.
Let me see. I'm just looking last week. Trade lower. The White House is setting limits on U.S. flows. I mean, who knows? It's China related. This is China. Who knows? But ugly week. I wouldn't be expecting these things to really just bounce back up to the highs of the move. You got some people caught on this one. And if you feel like you missed the low of the move last week, looks like you're going to get a reset at it this morning.
Spinner making a good point, and it's true. I don't know if it was for the move because it was so extreme, the move, but they do tend to move with oil a little bit too, obviously. So because this is obviously different type of energy here. So as oil rallies, and so you do see this correlation. I've noticed that too, that sometimes the solar stocks can be correlated with the oil stocks as well. And if you look at the chart, you can kind of clearly see it too. Although the moves were so extreme last week that it makes me think there was specific news. So that's the solar talk. Let's move on to the ratings talk because we have some awesome ratings here this morning. Where do you want to go? Like there's some big ones, man. There's one getting 2 upgrades.
Yes, it is. Match, right?
Yep.
Yeah, match up at Nomura to buy and Deutsche Bank to buy. Nomura giving an $88 price target, Deutsche Bank with the $91 price target on MTCH.
Big pop here. I'm going to say $80. That's the resistance level for me. At 78 here this morning. So if it gets up a little bit further, if I was long, I'd be ringing the register into this, fading this again. It does break trend, but there's that underlying issue of competition coming for them. And, we've saw eventually what happened to Netflix. I mean, you can keep pressing the competition button and it doesn't happen immediately. The stocks and buyers tend to forget it, but it is also one of those names that, isn't really a profitable company, or if it is, it's very low. So high PE, high beta, something that was getting hit and starting to try to show some life the last couple of days. Now it gets a lot of life here this morning. I think you're going to have people happy to get their money back at 80.
I think you're going to find you had trouble at 79. I had that.
Goal's a fader too.
Yeah, on his 23rd and 24th.
Darth Fader.
79. You had a pair of highs right there, and then the day that the high was not 79.05, you had that close at 72.83. So you're and this is upgrades. So I'm looking at that. I mean, if you're looking for resistance at 79, Dennis mentioned that 80 level. But once again, that big red barn that day, a lot of people would love to see 79 today when we're only $1.40 away.
Then you got Uber. When is the last time Uber got an upgrade?
Good question. I'll tell you. September 16th, HSBC upgraded them to buy that day. They're getting another upgrade this morning, October 7th. Citigroup upgrading Uber to buy this morning from neutral, announcing a $45 price target. Man, it does seem like every sell side analyst has a buy on this stock. I don't know the exact number, but they are all on the bullish side here. No one, I don't see a single sell rating on Uber.
It's been beat up so much that I'd be nervous fading it at 30.62. At 35, I'd be a seller with 2 hands. That's a long ways away, obviously, and we're not getting there anytime soon. So I think if you're shorting it here, coming in here, like at the match, I almost like it from the short side today. The Uber, I'm not fading this one. It's up 3%, but it could continue to move. So I think, there's just room. I'm not jumping in here on the bull train on it. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere for me. I'd rather be on the sell train at 35 or the buy train at the recent low of the move at 28. At 30.5 to 31, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So no trade for me.
Now the two hands reference, is that from my floor stories?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And what that
What's that? Tell what that means.
Yeah. With one hand in the pit, you can only get hit up to 10 contracts, right? If you have one hand up. But if you go up with two hands, you can get hit with 100, 500, 1,000 contracts. If you up, that's an unlimited quantity. And I did see a guy, MBH, he was trying to, boost the market a little bit, and he bid on 1,000 SPOOs, and
got him.
Drew had an order to sell 1,000, and he goes, turned to him, he goes, sold to you. And Mark did the right thing. He just turned to another broker, and he said, get me out. And I don't think he got murdered too bad on it. I think they're at like another 500.
The locals don't like, he's a local. They don't like getting hit on that kind of size.
No. And then there was another guy, I won't give his symbol, but what he used to get in trouble a lot because he would try and bully the market. And when you're up with two hands, right, you could get hit with anything. So when he would come into the pit, he would tie a shoelace around his wrist and then tie the other end of the shoelace around his belt loop. So he could never, I've told you.
So he could never put two hands up.
Yeah. Yep.
That's kind of like, it's almost a little bit like layering, isn't it now, in the nowadays, where they're putting a fake bid up there. When they were putting two hands, and the locals and trying to bully the market, that's almost like, and you can get hit. I mean, the guy turned around and got hit, but it's almost like what layering is today is, and obviously illegal now. After 2008, they really cracked down on it, and 2010, because they're putting fake bids into the market. So you put like a bid for 20,000 shares or something, and you're not really intending to buy. You're just trying to push the market higher. That's actually illegal right now, and you can go to jail for that. It's called layering. So that was kind of like the original layering, Joel, was, when the locals throw up the two hands. So this stuff always existed, even in the pit back in the day. Except now it's obviously anonymous, so you can do it and nobody knows who's doing it. In the pit, you can see the guy who's doing it, so the pit could kind of police itself.
Yeah, and also you could see, like, if an old order was rolling off a desk, like to sell 500 and even, like whatever the even number was, like, so let's say it was like 220 back then a lot of locals, even before the order got in the pit, they'd be like, 2,005, and they knew, 500 was coming at even, and they would never get done on it. But those games are pretty much over now with electronic trading. But boy, oh boy, electronic trading, Dennis getting banned at stores. We got a lot more.
There's lots going on here. Let's go Buzz T. And you know what, Buzz T, this is on the agenda. It's on my list to talk about here. We were just finishing up the ratings. We'll come back to ratings in a second. I want to go to Buzz T. He's saying, you guys haven't discussed Joker and the long-term thesis on T with their new DC content.
Yep.
You know what? Okay, props to my buddy at Bright Trading. He said Friday. He told me Friday. He's like, you might want to go long AT&T over the weekend with this Joker movie. I was like, sounds good to me. I'm like, it is supposed to. I've been reading all about it on my Twitter line. It's supposed to have a really big weekend. So I was like, you know what? I'll go long AT&T in the weekend. So I did. So I'm long AT&T still here right now. It's because the Joker movie. It's also Christian Fromhertz. Props to him because he recognizes ex-dividend week for AT&T too. I believe they go ex-dividend near the end of the week here. So two catalysts really for AT&T. So I don't mind the long in the short term here for that reason. I typically sell this stuff overnights. I typically sell them the next day, which would be today, but we'll see. I'd like it to get to 38. I don't know if we're going to have room for that or not on the AT&T, but the movie itself, did anybody see it? First of all, chat, did anybody see it? Because I saw the trailer. It looked pretty good.
I did not see it yet. I may or may not. Still haven't really decided. But it did come through with a $93.5 million weekend, which is a record opener for an October debut. So that's a good headline. I've never quite understood this, like, go long or go short on a single movie thing.
It works. I don't know if that's a catalyst for AT&T this morning because we do have an RJ. So it's hard. RJ came out and was talking about it, and they reiterated their outperformance. So that could be the catalyst. But I don't think it hurts. I mean, when is the last time Time Warner had a blockbuster hit?
I'll tell you.
Been a long time.
No, like a month ago.
And people don't typically equate AT&T with movies. I mean, if this was a Disney movie that just kicked butt, Disney trades up on it.
Well, it's Time Warner, which is AT&T, and they had.
I know, but people don't like. You don't see people like, oh, this. They don't think about it. They don't see AT&T as a movie play.
Well, I mean, they own Warner Brothers.
No, they did. It is a movie play.
So, but they had It Chapter 2 a month ago, which was $193 million grosser. So that's one of the bigger movies of the year.
What movie was that?
It Chapter 2, the sequel to It.
So Cousin It from the Addams Family.
It as in Stephen King. It.
Oh.
But they are a movie play. I never understood this idea of going along like for a movie.
I do it. We do it. I tell you, and just my opinion, but I believe it works. So it's something that if I hear this going to be a huge hit, I usually will go along ahead of that release.
The only time we saw that was with the Star Wars. It seemed like
that worked.
Yes, I know, but that's exactly. But for like 2 or 3 years, every December when there was a Star Wars movie, 2015, 16, 17, the stock rallied. But that's the only time I maybe have observed this trend.
I mean, this is just simple trading, and people say it doesn't work. But you know what? The simple stuff works better than the complex stuff. What I found in my 20 years of trading. And obviously, I've been prop and doing a lot of trades in those 20 years. I found that the simple stuff, like buying ahead of an Apple event, buying ahead of an ex-dividend date, buying ahead of a big movie, I've found that stuff as alpha in it, and I'll continue to do it. I don't know if I'm being rewarded here this morning because AT&T's up 20 cents in a down tape, so it might be the RJ rating because, like I said, we have two things. We reiterated their outperform here this morning, and they put a price target. They raised the price target up from 35 to 40, so that could be the catalyst here. But I also think there could be the catalyst of the movie as well. What are your thoughts, Mr. Elconin?
No, you've been talking about this for years.
This trade, buying ahead of movies.
Also, it's just like that, like the eye test and stuff. I mean, do people try and speculate on Super Bowl commercials and things like that?
We see the moves.
Yeah.
Super Bowl commercials. Good commercial will move a stock.
Yep. Also in golf, it depending. It really was hot when Jordan Spieth had that.
Yep.
What was he? Under Armour?
Yep. And Under Armour opened up like $2 or $3 that next day after he got his the Masters. He won the Masters, wasn't it? Yep. So there's trades in here, guys. There is trades for this. And I play them. I will play that. So it was a big movie. Anyways, I kind of want to see the movie. It looked really good.
I don't want to see the movie.
You don't see the Joker movie? It's not really like a superhero movie though. It's the backstory. Somebody's wrote an intriguing backstory on how the Joker became the Joker. Yeah. And it's about mental illness.
If you want to give away,
no, we don't want any spoilers here.
I haven't seen it, so I can't give anything away. I'm just telling you what I saw in the trailer.
Spoiler-free show. I haven't decided if I'm going to see it in theaters or just wait until it comes out on Netflix or whatever to watch it. But
I'm intrigued. I'm not a big superhero movie fan, but this trailer looked good.
Well, Joaquin.
I like Joaquin Phoenix too.
Joaquin's the best.
He's a great actor. Somebody say he's going to win an Oscar for this.
Chili Trader said it's worked on the Avengers a few times.
I think so. Yeah, I think it works. And obviously,
I believe that
nothing works 100% of the time too. I mean, you could do these trades, and 3 out of 4 times might not work, but 3 out of 4 times maybe the stock goes nowhere, and the other time it goes up, you make money. So it's not necessarily the stock. I mean, if it can work the opposite direction, that you're expecting a big weekend and the movie flops, that will hit a stock like Disney. So you always have to be aware of that too. But I think everybody kind of knew this AT&T. I think they kind of knew this Joker was going to have a big weekend.
I don't know. I think the commercials for it are kind of scary.
Laura, my wife, I was like, do you want to go see this? And I showed her that like the first 10 seconds of the trailer, she had to shut it off. She's like, nope, too creepy. Nope. I was like, I'm not into horror movies either or anything, but this I don't think is a horror movie. It's
she was like, you can see that. I'll go to the Ice City.
Yeah, she said you should go with Phil to see that. My buddy Phil, who I've seen movies with, and he's a big Star Wars.
All right,
fan.
I guess this AT&T.
We geek it out.
I mean, you came in this morning. You said that's why AT&T is higher. I said
I don't know because the RJ outperform is there too, so it probably would have been higher in the RJ outperform. So I could tell you in balance 242,000 shares to buy too wasn't hurting it, but. Anyways, that's that was my thought process for my buddy over the weekend, and he's like gonna have a big weekend. He said to me on Friday. I was like, I was already thinking that, so I was like, yeah, I think so. I think it could have a okay over the weekend, could move the stock.
Yep, and runs into ex-dividend as well.
Yeah, I like that too. I like the setup. We know these stocks like to run up into that ex-dividend date as well. So there's a couple catalysts here. I think there's room to 38. I'd
Got
probably be a
someone
seller at
lurking at
38, but there's
38?
50. There's
Yeah.
some room here.
You got someone lurking at 38 because I see.
Oh, Joel, you throw me under the bus. I did not open my my platform. I used to get the open book in this other platform. I have to actually subscribe to it in another platform here right
Okay,
now.
I don't want you.
So JV Spec might have his open. Anything at 38, I bet you there is.
Did you get banned from the open book?
Come on. Because I get banned from a thrift store doesn't mean I get banned from everything. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm going to say I did not do anything wrong on that. I was just smart.
Were you standing by the
I'm not like Joel and you go and you ask for the free Shake Shack and stuff. That's what something you would do. You've probably been banned from everywhere. Joel's a badass.
Were you standing there with her when you tried to do this, or did you kind of?
Yeah, I was being honest. She knew. They knew I was shopping in the store. And then I came back with a shopping cart full of stuff and another lady. And she's like, no way. No way are we letting you do this. And I was like, why not? I'm like, I'm just exchanging on this shopping cart full of stuff. This is good. This is clean.
Bring it back to
this is legal.
It was a smart play, Dennis. It was.
I know.
It was A for effort. A for effort. All right.
Anyways, I didn't think I'd get banned for it. That was a little bit extreme.
All right, I'm bringing it back.
They know that's not allowed, and that's it. Not ban me from the store. Come on. Okay, we can't keep talking about that.
I'm bringing it back to some ratings.
Now.
I'm bringing it back to some ratings. JP Morgan this morning upgrading Ring Central and Arconic to overweight. So RNG and ARNC. Ring gets a $225 price target. Arconic gets a $30 price target.
That's Arconic's had a pretty good year. I sold this thing for a tax loss last year at like $20. I guess I messed up. It's $24.97. It's had a pretty darn good year from 16 to $24.97. I tell you, I'm not buying it though. This is the old Alcoa.
Yeah, it's trading up.
No, thank you.
Yeah, the sector's been under pressure, trading up 30 cents in the pre-market. Let's see if you can even get into the 25 hand. Well, not too far away. If you can clear 25.05, that is your high from Wednesday. Then you got to look. You got to look to the pair of highs at 26. So trading 23.79, getting to that 25 handle. This could be a little bit of runner up to 26 if you're looking for a target on the upside. Not really on the downside here. If you're looking to buy it on support, if it goes green on the session, I don't know if it will with with the upgrade, but 23.49 was the close. And what was the other stock we talked about there?
Ring Central.
Central.
RNG.
Holy mackerel. Has this stock just been blasted off? I cannot believe this move. This was on the deal with, what was this deal?
Avaya.
Was it worth this much? This is crazy. It was up, and obviously, trade up on that, but it opened up at 145 on Friday and blasted to 169. What's up? Holy cow. I guess this deal is just changing the whole company, but what a move. Now JP Morgan upgrading it now? I mean, it's off to the races. It's hot as hell. Things at all-time highs. So yeah, absolutely. I don't short stocks when they're making new all-time highs. But I'm not chasing this either. You're buying it now. You're absolutely chasing it. It was $120 2 days ago. It's $172 here now. So it's hot.
Do you know who gave me this stock on the show? This must have been in 14 or 15. Do you know who talked about this stock?
No, who?
Sean Udall.
Sean, we should have Sean back. That's a good
call.
Well, Sean's still in this?
No, I'm sure he got out a long time ago. But we did talk to Matt Kolb, and he was playing the stock that ended up getting taken out. And according to Kolb,
well, it was not a takeover. It's like it's just a partnership.
A partnership?
Yeah.
Well, according to Kolb, Ring Central is only in like one country or two country or something, and through Avaya, they're supposed to be able to go to many other countries. So that's just a Matt Kolb take on it, but he's been following it AVY.
Kolb follows this stuff. We got a Kolb on the show sometimes. He gets some
today?
good calls too. He gave me INSG. Kolb gave me that INSG.
Oh, yeah, he gave everybody
Where
INSG.
is INSG?
Well, I bought it at $1.25, and the thing's $4.78. He did good on that one.
Huh.
Nice job, Kolb. I mean, you get them right, you get them wrong.
I
Sometimes
don't
you get
think
this one right.
Is he in today? I think he's
I don't know.
still. I don't know if he made it out of Columbus.
He does his fundamental research. He's a fundies guy.
Yeah.
He's on
All
fundamentals.
right, 8:35. Let's take a break for the day and grab Cate Long. She's a muni bonds expert and the founder of Puerto Rico Clearinghouse. We'll be right back in a moment here with Cate. All right, welcome back, everyone. Pre-market prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick, joined now, as I mentioned before the break, by Cate Long. She's a muni bonds expert and the founder of Puerto Rico Clearinghouse. Cate, good morning, and how's it going this morning?
Good morning, guys. Everything's going pretty well. Just kind of normal market opening probably here today.
So normal market opening. Has the past few weeks or few months since we last spoke to you, has it been a normal market from your point of view?
So in the fixed income side, we've had this huge disruption with repo, which is firms lending securities.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so firms lend securities overnight, and then they get cash, and that way they use this cash to fund other stuff that they're doing. And we had a big seize up in that market. Number of people think, there's different points of view, but the Federal Reserve has come in and started infusing cash basically into that market through reverse repos. So, that we have a very strange yield curve right now, where the short end is, inverted essentially. It's higher to borrow on, in the short term. So that just kind of accelerated that repo problem. And there's just a lot of strange things moving around in terms of rates, in terms of fixed income rates.
So is that still a problem now? This lack of overnight liquidity?
No, because the Fed has essentially unlimited balance sheet. They can just put as much cash as they want in. So, it's more just how's this going to settle out? Are they going to have a permanent overnight facility for the dealers and the banks, or are they going to try and do other things within the yield curve to try and get some pressure off the short end? But you have to understand the Federal Reserve has almost unlimited ammunition to deal with this.
So nothing concerning, people harken back to the financial crisis when this, happened before. And we mentioned, we were talking about it with Nate Tobick of the Complete Bank Report. And he kind of looked at that as, there was something maybe a little toxic out there that the banks, wanted to step back on their own collateral, or the brokerage firms. Do you see it as something a little more mild than that, or something symptomatic of something brewing in the U.S. banking system?
Yeah, so I was at a credit rating agency conference 2 weeks ago, and Rosengren, who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, was there, and some other guys who, kind of like premier guys in the macro side of this. And most of them pointed to the collateralized loan obligation market as being concerned. And this is where banks take loans that they make and then securitize them. They chop them up into little pieces and then distribute them broadly. Then you have these what are called CLO managers that take these little pieces and then make it into like structured finance. And then they leverage these, vehicles up. And, because we have a lot of, we've just issued a lot of debt. Corporations have issued a massive amount of debt since 2008. There is, of course, very weak issuers in there. And I think the concern is that, some of this weak issuance is getting concentrated in these CLO structures, these structured finance. And the deal there is that it's very opaque. It's one end of the market where we have almost no transparency. I think the regulators have a little more, but so you get concentrations of risk and the regulators can't see it. And that's the issue that when you look back at 2008, where it was just like nobody knew who had what or how junky it was, and you couldn't rely on the rating agencies. And so that's there, but generally the belief was it's a problem, but it wouldn't, if it just went haywire in the CLO market, it wouldn't bring the whole structure down, the whole financial system down.
Well, Kate, I've been reading about muni bond investors, and there have been some pieces written about how they've been going towards riskier and riskier assets, investing in energy plays and charter schools and these riskier types of muni bond assets. Have you been observing this trend as well, this rise of riskier muni bonds?
Yeah. So when the market conditions are like this, when yields are really low, basically people can issue anything and people will buy it just because they're looking for yield. And what happens is you get a lot of projects that in normal conditions probably wouldn't find buyers or would find, the paper would find buyers at higher yields. But there's such massive demand to get tax-exempt paper or taxable paper on the muni side that definitely riskier stuff comes to market. And, that'll basically within 2 years it blows up, and then you got to fight for the recovery for it.
You say in normal times, in normal markets. This is not a normal market?
Well, it's just yields are so low, and they've been so low for so long. The 10-year treasury is like 150. That's just really, nominally that's almost less than inflation, right? So just typically fixed treasury yields would be higher than inflation rates. So that just tells you there's something not quite right.
And what was your reaction to, I guess last week we got some contradictory econ data. It was bad earlier in the week. It was good later in the week. They like that the weak report means, I guess we're going to keep cutting rates. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought, the thing I really saw this week that looked really good was that wages of low-income workers were increasing. And I think that's the real driver when, the 70% of GDP is consumption, personal consumption. So when you have, in my view, when you have wage growth, people able to consume more, the people actually consuming, then that's a good kind of propellant for the economy. A lot of the other stuff, trade, those numbers are going to move around. But I think generally, the belief is that the economy will remain pretty sturdy through the 2020 election, which is kind of the pivot point for a lot of us that we look at.
We're on the line with Cate Long. She leads a research service for Puerto Rico bondholders. And I don't think you've could pick a tougher place to try and evaluate the bond markets. We all know what happened there. Can you talk about where they're at as far as they're getting back up in their feet, where the bondholders stand, how the utilities are? Give us an update on the Puerto Rican bonds.
All right. So Puerto Rico, I projected in 2012 that they would be insolvent, and essentially. And then they went on and issued a bunch of debt after that. And then in 2016, they started, or 2015, actually, they started defaulting on their debt. And Congress imposed created a new law and imposed it called PROMESA to give them some breathing room and allow them to restructure their debt. And so they've reorganized one chunk of debt, which is a sales tax debt. And the recoveries there are two tranches. One was the recovery was 93 cents about on the dollar, and then the weaker tranche, what we call junior or subordinate debt, was 56 cents on the dollar. Now that whole thing is being appealed. So although the new bonds have been distributed and stuff, it's possible that there'll be some changes there. And now we have the other big class of debt, which is the general obligation debt. This huge fight has started, and the board that the Congress imposed to deal with this wants to invalidate a huge chunk of this debt and this general obligation debt, and the bondholders are like, forget it. There's no legal precedent to invalidate it. I mean, essentially they want to zero them out. And it's just not going to happen. So it's going to be a long fight. And then next week, Aurelius, who's this very well-known hedge fund that litigated against Argentina for 14 years and finally won, has this case at the Supreme Court against the Oversight Board, this board imposed by Congress, asserting that the board was appointed unconstitutionally and all the actions they've taken for the last 3 years should be nullified by the Supreme Court. So the orals are next Tuesday for that, and then we expect some kind of ruling by the Supreme Court by hopefully the end of the year, and then it's up to the White House really what they want to do going forward. So basically, within a couple months, this whole thing could be blown up, and we go back to the starting gate.
Wait, are you referring to Elliott Capital as the hedge fund, the ones that held the ship hostage?
Oh, so Elliott, yes, but this is also Aurelius. They're Brodsky. These guys are they're sort of like companions and it's into the business.
Okay.
But they're different funds. Aurelius is a different hedge fund.
And just wanted to ask you, you made a statement that, okay, you think the economy is okay through, the rest of the year, not much, and through the 2020 election. That really seems to be contrary to what the yield curve is saying us. That's contrary to what President Trump is saying. And just along with that question, the strong case now for lowering rates is, because everyone else is doing it, because Europe's doing it. And I'm like,
right.
Well, who wants to follow that business model here? So look where they're at with them lowering rates. We've kind of been firm believers on the show. It's ridiculous. Let's use lowering rates when we really need it. Your outlook on those two questions.
So, Joe, that's actually a very rational point of view to have, which is that, the Fed should keep lower rates in reserve for when there is real economic demand. There's a real need to boost the economy. But the reality is that, because global money flows are so liquid that money flows globally to where, it has the best return. So what we get is this huge influx of liquidity into the U.S. market, the Treasury market, which strengthens the dollar because all that money's coming in. People want dollars to buy U.S. Treasuries, and that makes it harder to export, right? I mean, there's kind of all these knock-ons, and you're absolutely right about Europe going to negative rates, and there's been some discussion on the fringes whether that would be should be used in the United States. It's really hard to implement. And I just think overall, I think that, when you look broadly at most of the measures of the economy, it's very good.
Okay.
And, there's outliers again, like in the corporate debt market, we have, we've had a lot of borrowing, so we're going to have higher defaults. And you also get that in the personal debt market, where you get people borrowing a lot of money, you're going to get some people defaulting. But that's just kind of part of the cycle. I mean, that's not anything unusual right now. That's just how the cycle goes.
You guided us through the Michigan bankruptcy here, and you talked a little bit about Illinois, and I don't think things have changed much over there. But can you just give us an update and any other states perhaps that are on your radar as being a little bit concerning?
Yeah, so Detroit, we did work together through that long, painful episode. Detroit finally came to market without the support of the state of Michigan to borrow, which is, like a bellwether event for, in the muni market or in the bond market. It didn't need the support of the state of Michigan to borrow. And that was kind of a bellwether thing. I think they were rated BBB, which is still junk, but, at least they could get to the market and borrow. Chicago and Illinois, they've had this change of leadership here. We have Mayor Lightfoot now as the mayor and Governor Pritzker. And, there's really many views about what's happening there. And Chicago has this huge pension liability, which has not been funded adequately over a long period of time. And the mayor is planning over the next several years to radically boost the amount of cash that they put into the pension plans, which means, taxes are going to go up. And then the state, they're pushing for this graduated income tax on a state level, which generally voters will not approve tax increases. So we're at this kind of tipping point with both the state and the city of Chicago where, some big decisions have to be made. And if they can't get these tax increases approved, then they have to figure out how they're going to, manage all their liabilities, either restructure them or do something else.
What about Connecticut?
Yeah, Connecticut has a problem where people are leaving, and it's just high taxes, and they have a little more wiggle room because they have a pretty high, they have a pretty high income base there, but they also have these cities which are pretty low income. So they also, like Illinois and New Jersey and Kentucky, have these pension liabilities that are just pretty overwhelming, and there's not a lot of ways to deal with them outside of bankruptcy. So.
All right, we've been on the line with Cate Long. As you can tell, she is a muni bond expert, the founder of Puerto Rico Clearinghouse. Kate, as always, thanks for your time.
Yes, thanks, guys.
All right, it's 8:50 here. It's always nice to get different. Takes.
I like Kate.
Yeah,
I like her. She's pleasant. It's
talk about different markets.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's just not stocks and bonds and bonds included in futures and stuff. But I like her perspective on things. S&Ps are kind of quiet here this morning. We're still in the red. We're down 7 handles, 23.44, up near the highs of the pre-market session, 46.75. So what you want to see, you bulls, strong day on Friday, no doubt, from the opening bell, is, hey, just to shrug off, get back that other 7 points, get back into the 29.50 handle, and things really open up. There'll just be the question of whether that bounce on Friday off the jobs number was just a little bit of a dead cat bounce here or not. But S&P's holding in there so far this morning.
There's a few stocks trading higher here. So, you have some themes going. Oil is up. We haven't talked about oil. Oil is trading higher here this morning. A lot of your oil stocks are going to be trading higher as well. But looking at the chips, I mean, we got a big move in NVIDIA here this morning. RBC with the notes of positive commentary, raising the price target. And you don't look now, but NVIDIA is actually getting close to its highs of the move.
I haven't looked at it.
Quietly snuck back. I still have this in the long-term portfolio.
You get nervous?
No.
Sell it?
So it's a long-term portfolio. I don't get nervous on the ones that are going up. I get nervous on the ones that are going down.
188.40. That was a recent high of the move, so I'd keep an eye on that. It just really failed bad when it got up there last time, but let's see if I could have a better move this time. Also on the monthlies here. No, you could easily sneak into the 190 handle here, but that one top, 188.40, that'd be a good target today. That'd be another $4 higher on NVDA.
A couple more ratings I want to do. We talked about most of them. Raymond James, I guess they are bearish this morning on furniture. They're downgrading Knoll, K&L, Herman Miller, MLHR, and Steelcase, the Grand Rapids, Michigan company.
We learned something.
Yes, we learned something last week. Downgrading all 3 of those stocks to, neutral? Yes. Well, they're downgrading. Actually, they're downgrading Knoll from strong buy to outperform, but downgrading.
That's weird.
Yeah,
the strong buy outperform thing. RJ, you got to get rid of that, guy. So you want to be a buyer, you're buy or sell.
But
outperform, strong buy, super strong buy. Come on, we need 3 ratings. We need buy, hold, and sell.
Right. The other 2 are downgraded to neutral. So SCS, K&L, MLHR all down this morning at Ray J.
What's the biggest one of those?
I don't trade any of these furniture stores. But
what you guys learned was the Grand Rapids, Michigan company.
I learned that last week.
Trading down. What I don't like about this is it's coming into a real open area here. If you take out 1750, Bulls need to defend it at 1752, and then shrug that off. Also, you had a low on a gap up day at 1744. So I really like that 1750 area. See if it holds there and keep SCS heading north. And what was the other stock in there?
MLHR, Herman Miller.
Herman Miller. Is that a Michigan company too? I don't think so.
Don't know.
This one, I don't like this one as much. It had a big spike over $48, giving it back. Then someone just firmly wanted to sell it at 46.5, 47. Been doing that the last couple days. you have two lows matching it, 44.50. Buck away. So it holds that pair of lows from Wednesday and Thursday. Sure, it looks okay. Just it's gonna be hard working through that big red bar from September 19th, where it opened at 49, raced to 49.40. It closed at 45.11.
And then Wendy's, don't they report later this week, or did I make that up?
No, there you go.
They did? All right, never mind then, because I was going to say they reported this week they're getting a downgrade this morning from Cowen to neutral, but they don't.
You see that
week,
report?
so.
This is when they reported.
Oh, yeah. On the chart. You can tell big gap down.
Yeah.
That's the giveaway in the report. Okay, my mistake. Well, in any case, downgrade this morning from Cowen to Market Perform. That's pretty much it for the ratings. Smile Direct Club, the recent IPO, getting I guess the quiet period's up today, getting initiated at a number of firms, mostly on the buy side. So
at least the stock going down. So if you're looking at SDC, you have a hard bottom. It's a long ways away from here now, though, around that 1250 area. So now you're at 15. It's like, am I want to chasing this? I mean, it was a hell of a day on Friday. Went from 1291 up to 1485. Continues on its merry parade here to 1510. But now it's a little bit of chasing because it's a big move already. So I mean, if you're gonna call a bottom, you want to buy it near the bottom, not $2.50 above the bottom.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're an Uber bull here and you look at basically we went from what 19.
Yeah, if you were long already, where are you getting out?
Right,
50%.
Let's see. No, the high was higher than 19. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the high on the 21? Let's call it 21.12, the old rush number. So that's a 9-point move, 4.5, 16.5, 17. If you're really looking for a big number on this,
That'd be the 50%.
Yeah, taking back half of the move. Jared, thoughts on the TLT? Take a look at that.
Crazy that.
Rally.
Well, you know, we're seeing this 2 days in a row here now. TLT was higher on Friday and banks were higher. TLT lower today and banks are lower today. So I have this hedge on. It's not working very well. But, you know, it's been a weird market here. So we're seeing weakness in the banks this morning, despite the TLT showing weakness as well. And usually those moves counter to each other.
Yeah, I mean, if it's trading down, so, you know, use yesterday's range as a guide here. What was the close? The close we're well below the close. You haven't taken out Thursday's close yet at 44.92, so I'd keep an eye on that. If you lose that, then you could be dropping under 144. I like to look at the bonds a little bit more than that. And then also real quick, someone's asking about Home Depot. Home Depot, Dennis did not get banned from Home Depot. That's trading down 80.
Buying paint.
You know, it just kind of it's trying to bust out, but man, it just seems like you got some supply up here. It hit the all-time high around 235, spiked up there the other day. I'd use 230. Let's call it 230 the level. Friday's high 29.21, Wednesday's high 30.60. So looks a little toppy here. No reason to rush out of it, but sure like to see it make a new all-time high soon and get away from this 225 area.
Look at rating or imbalances quickly here because there is some interesting ones. Taiwan Semiconductor, 70,000 to buy. So that is trading in the green here. We are talking about NVIDIA already trading up to Nike, 59,000 to sell. That's significant. It is trading in the red here. We already talked AT&T, 267,000 to buy. General Electric, I do have a small short position on that just overnight, and it's very small. 687,000 to sell. There was news. The reason I highlight this, there was news here this morning.
There was.
Yeah.
News on their pension. They got out from under some pension liabilities.
What did they pull that off?
They got out from. They froze their pension plan for about 20,000 employees, and it's gonna.
What do those 20,000 employees think
save
about that?
It's going to reduce GE's pension deficit by about approximately $5 to $8 billion, and their industrial net debt by approximately $4 to $6 billion. So they're going
Is
to
this good news that they have to go freeze 20,000
No.
employees' pension plans? I mean, its stock was trading up over 870 this morning. Is this really good news? That's why I shorted it.
Oh, it's horrible news.
I think so too. I think it goes down on this. So I'm short it right now. Just my opinion here. I will, and these are short-term trades, but I think it could come in and probably go red on this. I probably will cover this if it does indeed start to go red, but I think it's ridiculous. I was trading up on
Save some money, big whoop, but you're freezing pension funds.
You're screwing 20,000 people, are you not?
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Quick question on Apple here. Boy, they love that news on Friday. Jacked it up over $6. I don't know if that size move was warranted, but that's what it did. Made a high at 27.49 in a strong market. I look at your high from last week, though, at 228.22. We're trading in a 26 handle. So really, to get another move back up and test old-time highs, we're really close to it. All-time high at 233.47. But for me, making sure we clear that 228.22. And, even got Friday's high right there, 227.49. So I'll just use that 228, $1.60 away here. I'm going to be talking with Gene Munster later on today. So we'll see what I'd like to get his thoughts on, because doesn't Apple a lot of times like they undersupply, and then, oh boy, we oversaw them a lot. But I did swim with my Apple iWatch over the weekend. I did not track my kicking, which I'm not too happy about, but I'll figure it out. I'm learning. Spent 45 minutes on the line with customer service, and they were very nice help.
So you're an iWatch fan.
I am. And I'm going to get the cellular package, and I'm going to ditch my phone.
All right. Well, he will update us when he does that. That'll be it for the show. I want to remind you folks that our show is sponsored by Weebull and the WeTrader competition, which starts today. I'm in it. You can trade with me, compete with me, and that starts today. Like I mentioned, the first of 4 weekly competitions. Go to Weebull.com or download the Weebull app to learn more. Win weekly prizes of up to $11,000 in Amazon gift cards and a grand prize of a brand new Tesla Model 3 or $40,000 towards your student loan payments. So Weebull.com to learn more, or just download the Weebull app and go to the community section of the app. I want to thank our guest today, Cate Long. Thank you, those of you in our chats, both on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Catch our podcast or replay wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Please remember all the information on our show meant to be used as informational purposes only, not for investing or trading advice. And that's it. Questions, comments, concerns, email us, premarket@benzinga.com. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll be back with you on Tuesday.